Hey everyone, one of the biggest things I learned from the videos and readings about the gift of communication is that communication is just not about expressing our own thoughts clearly, but also serving other people. In the book that we read this week, Schultz explains that communication should reflect humility, patience, and care for others. And this stood out to me because I used to think communication was mainly about getting my point across, making sure people understood what I was saying. But what I learned instead is that communication is also about listening well. And the author explains that listening is a key part of communication and communicating with grace because it shows respect and value for the other person. And I hadn't really thought of that before, and I thought it was a very important part of communication now. But it does make sense that good communication requires both speaking and listening. And so a way I can apply this in my everyday life is being more intentional when I'm talking with friends, classmates, or even teammates. And instead of thinking about what I want to say next, I can focus more on actually hearing what the person is saying. And I can do this by letting people finish their thoughts and asking questions and trying to understand their perspective before I want to get my response in. And then another thing I learned is that communication is powerful because our words can either build people up or tear them down. And Schultz talks about how Christians should use communication to encourage others and contribute positively to their communities. And I think that idea made me realize that even normal, everyday conversations can have a big impact on people and how they perceive you. And so one way I can apply this is by being more aware of the tone and words I use when talking to others. For example, when I'm talking with a teammate or a classmate, I can make more of an effort to encourage people and show appreciation for their ideas. And then even when I disagree with someone, I can still respond respectfully and try to keep the conversation positive instead of just trying to get my argument across or what I'm trying to say across and note how they're wrong or how I don't agree with what they're saying. And so I can kind of be more respectful and thoughtful in that way. And another way I could see this is that I also learned that communication is a responsibility because our words have real power to affect people, which is kind of what I was explaining. So the videos talked about how communication can either encourage people or hurt them, depending on how we use it. So just being mindful of how we're using it. And so overall, these ideas help me see communication differently. And instead of thinking of it as just exchanging info, I can now see communication as a gift that can strengthen a relationship and positively affect the people around us. And so by listening more carefully and choosing words that encourage others, I can apply these lessons in my everyday life.